none of that. Item 2, disclosures of personal and prejudicial interests. None to note. Item 3, minutes. To approve the minutes. 13th of January 25, page 1, page 2, page 3. Any matters arising?
Patience, put a hand up.
Patience?
Chair, I did send my apologies for the last meeting, and I'm sorry that that wasn't picked up in the minutes.
Thank you, Patience. Any more matters arising?
Chair.
Terry?
Yeah, sorry, sorry, Mandy. Yeah, just on I got my son was meant to come in on conflicts of interest. I've just started working for the Roots Foundation Wales, and we've obviously got a couple of young people from Swansea placed here, so it's for the item regarding the placements. So I think it's just a person.
Yeah. Do you consider you've got an interest?
Yeah,
that is
but
prejudicial,
I'm the director of the Roots Foundation. We have 2 young people from Swansea placed here. So I've obviously got an interest, but I don't know whether it's prejudicial or not.
You'll have to consider whether you consider it is prejudicial, and if you think so, then step out, councillor.
Okay, I'd probably do that, I think, just to be safe.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Can we have a mover of the minutes, please?
Yes, I can
Thank you. And
move the minutes as a true record. Yes.
thank you. And a seconder, please. Thank you.
Terry better leave now then if he's coming. It's only for information. The report's only for information anyway. I'm not making a decision. Do
Kerry,
you think he needs to leave?
it's for information only. You going to stay?
If there's no decision being made, then there's no conflict.
Yeah.
Is there?
You're okay? Yeah? Staying with us? Yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
you're happy with that. Sorry, yeah, I'm happy with that as well. If it's it's only for information.
There we are, you're staying with us. Item 4 is placement, sufficiency and sustainability for information only. Julie?
So I'll kick off and then I'll hand over to Chris, if that's okay. So just to set the scene, this is the first strategy that we've produced for Swansea Child and Family Services in terms of outlining our duties around sufficiency, but also satisfying Welsh Government's ask from all local authorities to set out their commissioning intentions in relation to how you're going to meet your sufficiency duty, but also the context that we're currently working within in relation to, as you're probably hopefully all familiar with by now, Welsh Government's programme for change and eliminating profit from the care of children. So this reflects that context as well, but also the challenges that we face, as well as the priorities that we have set ourselves going forward over the next 4 or so years. So if I hand over to Chris, he can take you through the details and pull out the highlights in the report. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Julie.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Julie. Okay, so I've just done a brief summary on each one of the points. So as Julie's alluded to, the report examines the current arrangements for ensure sufficient care provisions for children and young people, and that's to include the fostering, residential and supported accommodation, just to make sure everything's in place to meet needs and improve outcomes for the children and young people we support in Swansea. There's references to the Social Services and Wellbeing Act throughout, which, as you may or may not know, requires local authorities to provide adequate accommodation for children in their care, either through local foster cares or through children's homes. It considers the potential for regional decision making and in the provision of children's homes and in supported accommodation. And additionally, the report highlights the impact of Welsh Government's draft health and social care bill, which aims to eliminate profits from children's care services, as Julie's just alluded to. Okay, so number 2, for context, as we know, care experienced children and young people are the most vulnerable in society, and the priority is to ensure that their families receive the best support. The Social Services and Wellbeing Act emphasises the importance of children living with their family when not possible or with someone connected to them. So securing suitable accommodation for these children is key to improving outcome stability and preventing fewer children from entering the care system. The Welsh Government aims to reduce the number of children in care, keeping them close to home wherever possible. So the programme for government commits to eliminating profit from the care of looked after children by transitioning from a not-for-profit model. And this is focusing on the children's welfare over finances. So the change is supported by the Health and Social Care Bill, which requires all independent children's homes and fostering agencies to operate as not-for-profit entities by 2027. But there are discussions where this may be extended to 2030 moving forward. So the shift will affect local authorities' ability to commission care providers, creating the need for significant planning and investment to ensure safe transitions. The Welsh Government has made short-term funding available for local authorities to develop in-house fostering and residential care, but long-term capital and revenue investment will be needed to manage the scale of change. So number 3, so voice of children and young people. So our participation and children's right officer have collaborated with the widening access officer from the University of Wales Trinity St David and a group of 12 young people to create the Youth Voice in Action podcasts. These podcasts explore key aspects of the care system from the perspective of our children, focusing on the corporate parenting pledge areas. The podcasts are youth-led, showcasing the talents of young people involved in podcast creation and music production. The project uses a digital platform identified by young people as lacking positive role models, allowing them to champion their cause and promote change. Plans are in place to continue engaging with care experienced children to understand their concerns and to support the development of the corporate parenting pledges. They've expressed an interest in discussing topics like foster care roles, residential care, and what takes place in their care reviews. So Swansea care experienced children have also requested more opportunities to connect with others who share similar experiences, community members and key decision makers. The Corporate Parenting Challenge aims to provide safe space for sharing ideas and feedback, shaping the work of the Corporate Parenting Board and our children's rights schemes. So involving all young people in these activities fosters belonging, builds trusts and strengthens the relationships. Okay, item number 4. So overview of data and demand. So the number of children and young people in Swansea's care has decreased since 2020, with a small increase this year. As of March 2024, there are 225 foster carers in Swansea, consisting of 93 family and friends carers and 132 mainstream foster Wales carers. The number of connected carers, so that's relatives or friends of children, has decreased from 126 in 2023 to 93 in 2024, with 137 children living with them. So regarding residential care, so Swansea's prioritised, as I've mentioned further up in the document, keeping children close to home in high quality settings. As of March, we had 33 children that were in commissioned residential care and 4 in-house, providing it's within our own internal systems, which are TNAD and TRD. As far as the supported accommodation, we are working on a regional basis with Neath and Port Talbot for our unaccompanied asylum-seeking children. We're currently offering 16 places through the regional agreement, and the National Transfer Scheme allows for the transfer of UASC responsibility between the 2 local authorities. For supported accommodation, which helps young people develop independence, there were 50 referrals between 2023 and 2024 for young people aged 16 plus who needed the accommodation. So that is a very brief overview of the data. I'm not going to dig any further into that. Obviously, you've got the documents. So commissioning intentions and sufficiency requirements. So Swansea's commissioning intentions for looked after children focus on ensuring children live in family settings where possible, maintaining local placements, offering a wide range of high quality placements and supporting the transition to independence. By 2027-28, the goal is to have high-performing service with sufficient placements, support for young people and prevention of homelessness, as well as flexible short break service and sufficient local children's residentials provisions. Children will only be placed outside the area if absolutely necessary. So to meet this increasing demand, we aim to recruit 60 foster carers over the next 3 years, with targeted campaigns and strong short break services to retain carers. The plan is to expand in-house residential care to 25 beds within 4 years, focusing on a relation and therapeutic care model. The expansion will involve working with local providers, ensuring well-trained staff are able to support the most vulnerable children in these situations. For supported accommodation, Swansea is refining its framework to meet the needs of care leavers with a range of provisions, including emergency and permanent housing, also looking at spot purchasing and block contracts. The region faces challenges with a lot of these, and unaccompanied asylum seekers has been identified as we could potentially have up to 46 at any one time in the Swansea area. So we're working with housing to address some of the accommodation issues, particularly for the EU Ask 18 plus, so the over 18s, as part of a wider housing shortage crisis. The expansion of foster carers and supported accommodation will also include the provisions for unaccompanied asylum seeking children. Okay, so integrated impact assessment. The council is required to comply with the Equality Act, so public sector equality duty and socio-economic duty, the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, and the Welsh Language Measure. I won't read through all the bits attached to that. So the council's integrated impact assessment ensures that we're compliant with all of these requests and all of these duties, considering priorities like poverty, social exclusion, community cohesion, and children's rights. After the screening, the outcome confirmed that no full IAA report was required, as there were no negative impacts and the overall effects are positive. So just moving on to finance, the local authority requires significant additional capital and revenue to support Welsh Government to grow its in-house fostering and residential services. The investment is crucial to achieve the rebalancing of care outlined in the Welsh Government's programme for government, and the authority is awaiting clarity on funding streams beyond the current national 3-year programme, which ends in 24-25. Expansion plans will depend on the availability of funding and resources. Number 8, around the legal implications. There are no legal implications associated with this report. Any questions, please?
Thank you. Louise, did you want to?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, my hand keeps going up and down on the screen, so apologies. I couldn't get it to stay up. Yeah, thank you, Chris and Julia. I think it's really useful to bring this report to the committee. I know this is something that committee wanted to look at. It's important not just to see this in isolation. Obviously, it's a key part of our overall work across child and family services. You know, our overall approach in terms of you know, work to early help and prevention work to make sure that children and young people are supported and families are supported, and you know, to avoid becoming looked after. But for those that need to be, that we've got a robust strategy in place to deal with the increasing and complex demands, especially with the Welsh Government's Eliminate agenda. So as I said, I know this is something that the committee wanted to look at. It'd be really useful to have the committee's input on the strategy, particularly around, you know, growing our own foster care. And I know Che, that's something you were interested in, support for kinship carers and things like that. So it'd be great to have your input. Thanks.
Thank you, Lou. Any? Who's up there? I can't see. Louise and Leslie.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks both for the report. One comment and just one question. I think it's great to see that the children and young people affected are the ones who are guiding this as to what the approach is. After all, they're the ones who are going to put up with whatever process is being done, so they ought to have a say. So really good on that, very pleased about that. The other one was just an observation. Also very pleased to see that one of the priorities is to only place children outside the area as a very last resort. I was just wondering if that's been improved over the years. I can remember a few years back it was quite a serious issue, and I'm just wondering what it's like at the moment. Thanks.
Sure, I can bring that, Chair, if you okay. I can, if it's helpful, I can find the specific information for you and then send it around. I can't remember off the top of my head. All I can say is that we have less children placed in England, most certainly, and we have less children placed outside of Swansea, perhaps, but we probably do still have a number of children. Most children are placed in Swansea, but then we do have some in neighbouring authorities, particularly Neathport, Talbot and Bridgend and some in Carmarthenshire, particularly on the borders. But there are certainly more children that are placed within the Swansea local authority boundary, or maybe just on the borders. We're happy to provide that data to go into the minutes if that's helpful, Chair.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, thanks for that. I just wanted a general feel, so that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Patience.
Thank you, Chair. Just to check if I was correct in the understanding that there is a strategy around prevention that will be shared with us. Yes? I think it was Louise who mentioned that. Councillor Gibbard.
Well, not so much a strategy, just important part of our work really in terms of it's sort of twin approach really, isn't it? And that we've sort of it's a really important part of our work. I don't know, Julie, I don't know if is there one particular strategy in terms of early help and prevention? Or...
Well, if I can come in there, so what we do have is we just expressed through the recent Star Chamber sessions with Cabinet and Corporate Management team about our target operating model. And our target operating model is around how we utilise our resources, both in terms of externally commissioned services, but also our teams, where we focus around prevention, early intervention, which includes early help. But also we have internal services that can support families that would hopefully prevent children needing to become looked after. So they may be on the register, for example, on the Child Protection Register. And then we have captured in a document, which we renamed, and I can't remember what we called it. But when I first got here, it was called our Safe Lack Reduction Strategy. But that was in essence captured the range of services across child and family services, as well as linking into other parts of the council, where it articulates how we endeavour to support children and families to remain living together, and it covers from early help through to edge of care, where they may need to come into care for a short period of time. So that's been there for a few years, I think, at least 4 years, that document. So, thanks, Chair.
Well, thank you. I think it will be very helpful, if we can get any sort of insight into, the prevention strategies available. And I say this especially because in my ward, I've had a few complaints from parents and guardians of children who've been taken into care about a lack of support for parents and guardians. And, it could be, any reason around that. But I think just having had that sort of feedback, I just think it would be really good, to have more insight into sort of prevention strategies. My other question is around the recruitment of foster carers going forward. I know that has been a very big challenge over the years. Are we doing anything different going forwards in terms of recruitment strategies?
Yes, we are. So we've reviewed, we've got in line with the national plan for Foster Wales, Swansea, and has its own local plan, and then regionally with Neathport Talbot we also have regional activities. So we've got a dedicated team of staff that supports recruitment activities and recruitment campaigns and the support going out into communities. So we're open to suggestions and ideas, because we've recognised that we need to try different, this is the correct term, different channels, different platforms to reach different people. So we have been quite creative over the last year or so of trying, and we've got our own dedicated Facebook page, which we didn't have before, and we've seen a lot of traffic on that. I had a report I read this morning that shows the positive impact that's having in raising awareness across Swansea's communities and beyond, and people's understanding of the different who could become a foster carer. So we are starting to see the benefits of that in increased inquiries and increased assessments that we're doing for the people then go to the next stage. So yes is the short answer, but we're always open to ideas of trying different ways of reaching people and helping people understand the benefits of being a foster carer.
Thank you, Patience. No, first you and then Kerry. Come in. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Yes. It's just a matter concerning finance, really, in the budget. I was reading a letter that Councillor Holly sent in to our leader regarding finances, and there was one statement on there that queried the concern reducing external foster care. And one of the savings in the proposal is to reduce external foster care. I wonder, is that something that's going to affect your strategy in some way, if the funding is going to be a major concern?
It aligns very nicely with our strategy, because part of the strategy is that we use less external foster carers and that we use more of our own internal foster carers. And also where they're kinship carers, helping families become special guardians, so then they're no longer looked after. So it aligns very nicely with our strategy, the document we shared with you today. The challenge will be, as the previous councillor pointed out, is recruiting more of our own foster carers, because if we don't recruit enough of our own foster carers, that would be a challenge to achieve. But we're on the right route now. I'm very confident with the strategy we have in place for recruitment of new foster carers that we'll be able to achieve that reduction that has gone into the medium-term financial plan.
Has the financial plan been accredited yet? Is it? Have you had any final decisions on
from Welsh Government? No, we haven't heard anything from Welsh Government as of yet. They've announced a national figure for this particular programme for change in relation to the eliminating profit, but individual local authorities have not yet had their individual allocations agreed or approved.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Julie. Harry?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just one quick question. It is about the reduction of number of connected carers, and I wondered if we knew what the reasons were for that reduction and whether that was whether that's to do with, is it matched by reduction in young people in care across the board, or have those young people gone somewhere else?
No, so in terms of the reductions in connected carers, that will be where, and we did have quite a high number of these, where carers were supported to obtain special guardianship orders. So then they were no longer a connected carer, and so they would have gone through the fostering panel for their carer status to be terminated because they became a special guardian. So that's the primary reason.
Okay, thank you.
Right, for me, it's predominantly about I start on fostering. I sat on foster panel for a long, long time. And I think sometimes for me, it was the delivery of the training for the carers, where it was excellent, and I would never take that away from anyone, but probably a little bit more of understanding of the impact on your life. You're not just taking somebody into your home, that person is bringing a lot of trauma. And I don't think we kind of delivered that. I know we've moved on because I'm talking years ago. But with regard to Foster Swansea, you know, we always have and we always will do an excellent job. And, you know, I thank the teams for that. But it's not always about the children. And I think that's what took me away, because it was always the caring pack or the training package was excellent. But there were incidences where the carers weren't quite prepared what was coming their way, and then they just stood away. So everything we had invested into it and their commitment and their passion was just taken away like that. So I had big concern over that. But overall, we done and we still will always do an excellent job. But I think for those who could contribute and actually support, you know, these individual young people, it was just that little touch, that little cuteness. And I think we missed that. So probably to me, it is about giving the whole story instead of half a story, because the training was there, but some still went away with the unrealization of the impact it would have on them as a family. So, you know, and I always say, thank you, Foster Swansea, because I remember when Sarah was there in the very early days. So we do a lot of work, and we do, you know, the strategy's there, it's working, but just to be mindful of the carers who come on board, and 99% are fine, but there's always that one instance that we lose them. So something about that. We're looking at taking 60 in 3 years. New carers. I hope we get a lot more than that. But it is sensitive. And, you know, probably being on that committee, the emotions are, it does take hold of you when you read those reports and you get an application in front of you and you're thinking, because we are all different, we all bring something different to the table. So thank you to the team, but not forgetting the work that our carers, you know, bring. And sometimes that's not recognised, I would say. Again, different people bring different things, different emotions, and we got to find a way that we can capture it all, because the work is very valuable. So, you know, from me, probably nitpicking, because I sat there for a long, long time, and it's just, we've done very well, but maybe those little things could make it a lot wider and a lot better, and probably bring a lot more people to the table as well. So that for me is a big one. The other one is about kingship. And, you know, I hear what Patience says about concerns. You know, when a family is involved, obviously it's heart-wrenching. And we talk about support for carers, supporting needs to be for every single carer. And I hear families saying, I've been left, you know, realistically holding the baby, and there haven't been no recognition for the work I'm doing. So I think we got a bit of work to do on kingship. I think it's just when you take your own loved ones in, maybe we do recognise, but not enough recognition is given to the work that they do to keep these children out of care, as we would say. So kingship for me is a big one. It's probably more to me than what the carers are, because families do shout and they do say, I've taken, you know, my life is on stop because of whatever, ever. It might not just be the one generation, they're looking after 2 or 3 generations. And maybe that little bit of recognition that the work the families do for us as well would go a long, long way, and probably encourage others. So there's a bit of negativity around that for me, but that's what I hear in the communities. And maybe, you know, I should be feeding back a lot more, but I welcome any work that's being done on kingship. And sometimes the carers are recognised more than kingship, and it just needs that little bit of collectiveness, and everybody has one, and the package that's offered to one is a package that's offered to all. And I hear it sometimes that maybe if I was a carer, I'd be treated differently. Well, no, thank you for the work you're doing, and thank you for keeping this young person, you know, in a secure placement then. But as much as I'm negative, you know, it's massive, and the programme has developed. You know, I've been here 13 years, done a lot of work over the years with Foster Swansea. So I welcome this report, and I welcome the work that's being done as we progress. And no matter what funding we get, it'll never be enough. It will never, ever be enough. So thank you for trying to encourage more carers. It's a big, big job. But, you know, we will get there. It's not something that's going to be done overnight, because it's a moving feast. And we know the more we take out of care, tomorrow the door opens for more demand. So probably for me to say as a chair, thank you. And I genuinely mean that, because emotionally it drained me being on that panel. And you do take it home with it, because I always say, we know everyone knows us, and it knocks on the door all the time, doesn't it? You know, but sincerely, thank you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Let's just work together and achieve what we can for these little bodies that need more and more and more. But we get in there. So thank you. And I mean that sincerely. If you want to, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your comments and observations. It's always really good to hear where we can do things better and differently, because you're absolutely right. Support for whether they're a foster carer or kinship carer, it's not just about financial support, but it's about the cutch, isn't it? And so we learned from that. And over the past 2 years, what we've introduced is a different role to support, to do exactly what you've just described. So we can actually go out and give people support in the home, the carers, I mean, whether it's kinship carers or whether it's foster carers. And we've introduced a lot of support groups, bringing people together for a coffee and a chat, time out, and helping along those ways. And we also continually reviewing our financial policy to help understand whether that's in line with national expectations, because there are some, but also that it marries with what life's like for people in Swansea. So rest assured that we're always open to, and we're very keen to hear people's feedback. And we did have, for the first time in Swansea, I've lost track of the year already, but we had a celebration event for our carers, and it's really very well received, because they'd not had anything like that before. And we're always looking for feedback and listening to people. So yeah, so thank you. Just keep talking to us, and we'll keep coming back with ideas about ways we could do things better going forward. So thank you.
And I think just before I close, it's a different element of support and care for kingship. You know, we all know that. But probably 2 years ago, I would have been a little bit more louder at trying to explore and to support these carers. But we are listening, and we are achieving, and we trying our very best to reach those goals. And I got to be fair, probably in the last 2 years, we've listened and we are achieving for them as well. Because I suppose taking your own in is something different than taking a stranger in, and probably the demands are completely different. But again, thank you. And I hear what you're saying, and I will be banging on your door. Thank you. Leslie?
Yeah, just quickly to follow on from some of the comments that you were making, I think it goes, for me, it goes back to the point how essential it is that the young people themselves get a voice, and we've got to make sure that the feedback they're bringing gets through the system so that would-be foster carers know what they're going through and have a better idea of what they're taking on. So again, I can only just say, I think listening to the young people is crucial, and I'm very pleased that that's part of the policy, part of the strategy.
Any more questions or observations? Do you want to come in?
Not a question as such, Chair, it was a pure observation, because I believe that the job that you guys are doing must be, well, I feel is quite an important role actually, and it must be quite a challenging one. I was just wondering, it must be quite a challenge actually to recruit foster parents, particularly foster parents who could really do the job. And I just wonder what sort of statistics you have. That is it difficult, or are you finding foster parents that can actually do the job with ease?
I think it's fair to say that over the last couple of years, every local authority has faced some challenges because people, following COVID, a lot of people reevaluated their life, and that included people that may or may not have been interested in becoming a foster carer. So we've seen different people coming forward, and I think we had a bit of a lull, and we have peaks and troughs. But with the change and the different way of reaching out to people, and a really good way is local councillors, I have to say. So anything that you can do to raise awareness is really very well, because of going out into communities more, but also using social media more to reach different age groups. So I think we'll always continue to have peaks and troughs. But the thing that has affected of late will be the Eliminate programme, because it's created a period of uncertainty about what that might mean. So we've been trying to attract people that are with private agencies to come over to local authorities, in the hope that people would see the benefits of being a local authority foster carer. But there's a lot of uncertainty out there at the moment, so that's had an impact on interest. But over the last 3 to 4 months, we've seen an upward trajectory in terms of percentage, numbers of people that are expressing an interest in becoming a foster carer. So we've definitely seen a significant increase, therefore, in initial visits and also then assessments. So it's definitely gone up over the last 3 to 4 months compared to before Christmas. So.
Yes. Just on one occasion, my next door neighbours were foster parents to 2 young children, brother and sister, and they really had a challenge on their hand looking after it, where they were disadvantaged in many ways, sort of minor disability in terms of mental health and learning difficulties. They had an immense task, but I could only give them real credit for what they did. So I don't think I could have done it, but it's a special kind of person, I think, who can actually become foster parents, particularly to do a job particularly for children that have real needs. And I'm sure many of the children in the cases that we talk about do have those real needs. Or you deserve all the credit you can get for that.
Any more questions or observations? Nope. Got off lightly, guys. So we're on to agenda item 5. That is the work plan. That is nearing the end. So we've got 7th of April. We will meet online because this venue is booked up. We can go in the chamber, but I think it'll be easier if we meet online for everyone. Is that okay? So we'll be online. Alison will send the invites out. And it's just, we're not sure whether there will be an update because we don't know if the report is in yet for the update on work carried Oh, come on then. Thank you, Amy.
Oh no, sorry. I was going to come in. I wasn't going to tell you good news. I'm afraid. What we do know is it won't be ready by that date. So yeah, it's we're looking around between May and June. There's going to be it's got to go through a few meetings first, including the Area Partnership Board scheduled meeting and a formal joint meeting between the two public services boards. So once it's done that, then certainly it can come here. But that's not likely until end of May, June time. If that's okay. Thanks.
Thank you for that information. We do appreciate it. And we've got the annual report 24-25.
Simon's okay for
Simon, you okay
Yeah,
for that?
yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you
Thanks.
okay?
I am here, yeah. Yeah, I'll be fine with that. I'll make sure we circulate it in advance.
I'll touch base with you anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we are. So meeting's closed. What time is it now? Oh, sorry, Amy.
Sorry, I was just going to add, because we haven't got the Drug Commission report coming, I just checked with Simon, and we were just wondering if we should bring a bit more detail about updates on some of the things we've brought this year. So rather than just a summary of the year, we could bring a bit more additional information, particularly around the Poverty Truth Commission work, because when the report came, their report hadn't been published, so that's been published since, and also around the adult services early help offer. Some work's progressed in terms of that, and the tackling poverty strategy work's commenced even further than you will have had a report on. So obviously Simon's coordination will tell you what the work that's been done, but we can add a bit more to that if that's okay.
Yes, thank you. More than welcome. So sorted it now, yeah. So we'll still meet online. Otherwise we'll be in the chamber because this venue is booked up. So I'll see you all on the 7th of April. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you online. Take care.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chair.
Chair.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Nan. Bye.